So I'm live. Da, 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 da. La, da, 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 da. So wait for some people to kind of get in here, see what's going on. What's going on? I was listening to Angry Prepper, Jason, and I was listening to some of the things he was bringing up. And I popped on Twitter for a few minutes and TikTok for a few minutes just to see what's going on in the land of I want to complain about every damn thing. What's up there, pretty kitty? Yeah. What's up there, kitty? Yeah, whatever. It's a little hot for you to be on top of me, though. So I figured I'd do a little chat. Let's talk about some things that I usually don't do. About some of the things going on in the world, what we should probably ignore, and what is actually probably going to be a concern. So pop on in chat, hit the thumbs up, do all that YouTube stuff. We're going to talk about what's going on in the world. We're going to talk about taking walks out to the sunshine. We're going to water the garden. We're going to talk about workouts. This is water. A big thing about repurposing good products. So water is best stored in glass or stainless steel. So I take the filtered water and I put it in my Grolsch bottles that I pre-tested before with the original product. And then I put it in the fridge and come on up. Come on up here. Come on. I know, you just want to sit on my lap. That's what the cat wants to do. Yep. That's what she wants to do. I don't know if you can see her yet or not. She gets down pretty low. Used to be a feral cat. Now she's on my lap all the time. But honey, it's sunny. Yeah, I know. You're so concerned. You're going to fall down, go boom. There you go. Here, go over there. Ah, there we go. There, you got this whole chair to yourself. They do get pretty one-sided. So some of the nice tomatoes are pulled out from the garden. Terry and Jenny, welcome in. Hello, how are we doing today? What would we like to talk about today? Now, today, a lot of it's mostly done in fitness and nutrition. But if you do have some questions about what's going on in the world, that can be presented in a cordial way, we'll talk about it. I don't usually do this, but there's so much hitting the airwaves this morning. There's so many people. I've watched a few channels I enjoy watching that have so many opinions about stuff. And it gets to the point where it's hard to determine what's real and what's not. And when you think that you know for sure that, okay, that was fake, and then they come out and say, no, it wasn't fake. But you look at all this stuff that says, well, you know, they could see this and they do that and see that, and then you realize probably you should suspect about everything you see online. So that's my thought, is just question everything. You know, don't take it at face value. And then there's another thing that you have to look at is not only look at what the information is, but why are they giving it to you? What was their motivation to bring this information out? Was it to inform? Or was it to inform you of what you should think? I don't know. Example, my daughter, when she was on a carrier, she said that the admiral released a clip of accidental bombing of a funeral procession under, a certain president. And I said, okay. He goes, that was just terrible. I said, well, number one, you have to ask, why is the commander of the aircraft carrier, who is currently serving under that president, commander in chief, relaying this information out to his troops? Because with me, I said, well, what was his motivation? Because when I was in the service, that person would no longer have his position. She goes, well, it was just terrible what happened. And I said, yes, it is. I says, and this happens every administration. Every president has had something in the world go wrong. And I never blame the president. Right? It falls under, sometimes the intel's wrong. Sometimes innocent people get killed going after a different target. Sometimes we got no business being in there. I said, but that's every administration. But I guarantee you, when it happened under administration before that, he didn't bring that up. I said, so you need to, good morning, Ray, how we doing? You need to sit there and ask, why did he bring that information out? What was his motivation? And I could tell she was like, well, why would you think that? I said, because I've matured. And it's not so much what you hear, but who do you hear it from and why are they giving it out there? If I want to influence people, I can sit there and pick out the information that I want. I can cherry pick that information out and only give that information out. I can give you one side of the story and only one side of the story. And you're going, well, what he's saying is not wrong. It would be factual. But if I'm withholding other information that may cause you to have a different conclusion from that information, that's propaganda. That's what propaganda is. Good morning. Hey, Smitty, how we doing? So today, if you got any questions, just pop them in chat. All right, now this is a PG-13 channel. But I want to talk about things that go on in everyday life and things that go on in the world that can cause an adverse effect to your wellness. And stress is the big one. Stress will definitely be the worst thing for you. And sometimes you don't realize how far you are under stress until you finally get away from it. My own personal experience, I was at a job that started out as the best job in the whole world, career. For 10 years, it was just provided for my family. I enjoyed doing it. And I was really good at it. With the quitting ones, probably the quitting ones. The winning ones, I could only guess. So I'll guess for and there. I might even play those. See what happens. And if we win, yippee-ki-yay. So, and then the job changed. The ownership went a direction that wasn't really a good direction. And I was complimenting myself on how well I was dealing with the stress. God, you're so good. You're dealing with all the stress. You the man. Until I got away from the job. And I got away from the stress. And then I was like, oh my. And I was like, oh my God. That is unreal. Just how it was affecting my well-being. It was affecting my well-being huge. It was like a weight came off my chest. Not like the weight that bounced off my chest, but very similar to, and probably quite as painful. So then I realized I wasn't dealing with the stress as well as I thought. I realized it wasn't affecting my health. It was affecting how I was treating my wife, probably how I was treating my children. I was probably a little bit less patient than usual. Not that I'm known for my patience, but it was probably less. And I started realizing, wow, this is something I need to get away from. For a while I was watching all the news and getting angry. I'm angry. Look what they're doing. I'm angry. And that was not doing anything good for my wellness. So I stopped watching all that news. Didn't mean I stayed uninformed. But when I felt something was important, I researched it. Because it seems like you never really get the story from your main media. I don't care who you watch. You must watch Fox. No, they do the same thing. Oh, you must watch the CNN. Oh my God, they do the same thing. I mean, it got to the point where I'd be watching these news channels. I said, my God, you're lying. You're straight out lying. It's not even misrepresentation. You are lying to people. And then I would see people that would listen to that. I'm going, can you not see it? Can you not see what they're doing? Because they're making you angry. Because you're angry, your body responds to it. It's a stimulus. And then you keep turning on the channel for it. A relative of mine was constantly on the social media arguing. And I told her, I said, you need to get educated. You need to do your own research. I watch news 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I said, oh my God, you got to turn that TV off. Number one, you're not watching news. You're watching propaganda. And number two, for at least 14 hours, you're angry. Probably longer. And that's affecting your sleep. And if it's affecting your sleep, it's affecting your health. Now, her husband passed away. I think that had something to do with it. I really do, in my opinion. So, understand what's going on in the world. If it's something that will directly affect you, pay attention to it. And there are some things out there, and I'm not going to get into them, but there are some things out there that have the potential to really, really particularly affect you. But if it's not affecting you, why worry about it? Why put that energy into it? All right? You need to do something a little bit more productive. Speaking of productive, I'll take the camera with me, and we're going to go out to the garden. I went to a garden party to reminisce with my old friends. As much as I like to sit around and maybe not do anything, here's Binks. Meow, 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 meow. I need to get things accomplished too. So what do? I multitask. That trick never works. There's the bluebird. So I got a bluebird this year. I don't think I had one a couple years ago. I got a yellow bird. And of course your robins and your red-winged blackbirds. And your normal stuff. I'm going to carry some water out here. Because it's not raining. Next chance of rain is maybe Thursday. When you do a garden, if it rains, it has to really rain. Let's just keep this up there so it don't look wrong. And I got Ray there. And what I mean like that is you got to get at least like an inch of rain so it penetrates to the roots. Just getting like a little 1/8 inch light rain doesn't do it. Probably gonna make a little noise. So this morning, I was sluggish. Laying in bed a little bit longer than I wanted to, probably. But I only got like 4 hours sleep the night before. And my body was saying, you need some more rest. So I got about 8 hours of good rest. But I was still sluggish. Generally when I sleep that long, it's hard to get moving. So a lot of times, like people just say, oh, I'll make a pot of coffee, I'll sit on the couch, or a lazy boy, and maybe sit in front of the computer for a half hour or whatever. Well, that's not what I did. Put on my hat and walked out to the garden. Got some sun in. And my demeanor changed. I went from being, oh, I'm tired, I'm sluggish, to now I got some energy. Now I want to do some things. Love my garden. Waiting until fall to plant again. Summer above. Yep. So you got to be down south. My brother does that too. He has when he does it, he has an early planting season And then he has a late planting season in the middle of summer. You're just cooking everything. But yeah, I love the garden too. Now I only get one season. Now things you can plant in the fall is you can plant lettuce and onions, and they will come up through the snow in the spring. So sometimes I will plant them by seed, knowing that I'm not going to sit there and harvest anything. And then the next spring, they're popping up and they already got a head start. You can also bring your peppers in. And if you trim off all the leaves, you cut them down and just water, maybe, a little bit of water every 2 weeks. You can bring them back out in the spring. And then they've already got the root system there. And I did that one last year. I got probably 800 jalapenos off of one jalapeno plant that I had saved from the year before. And probably about, 200 more green peppers on the same thing. Now, I don't have much luck getting a third year out of them, but boy, I tell you, it really makes a difference. And you don't have to wait until August to be harvesting stuff. And when it's not raining, there's Jack cucumber. I go out and water out. I already watered the lettuce. In about, another week, 10 days, I'll actually be able to start harvesting it. And that's when we do mass PLTs. Now with grow bags, you generally got to water a little bit more often, because it can also lose water off the side. The advantage of grow bags is it's a lot easier to weed. It's up there a little bit taller. And then the trick, in my opinion, of doing chores around the garden is don't try to knock them out at the same time. So come on, carry a bucket out. I have a couple tomatoes I picked earlier. I did add another hose here so I don't have to walk way over there to refill. Then I got this hose here. I'm going to stop at the hardware store and get a new female end or male end for it. And then I'll actually just be able to walk to the plant itself and water. So I might take us to the pond after this. We'll see if if it'll reach out that far. So I was watching the reaction. Former President Trump and Elon Musk had an interview. I didn't get to watch it because I was at work. I'll try to watch it later, so I don't have any opinion on what the interview is. But I guess it got like 24 million views, maybe more. Boy, I'd like to get 24 million views. Yeah, I'd be able to retire. And then I got all these negative comments from the pundits. What I mean by pundits, your CNN, your MSNBC, let's call them for what they are. They are the Soros-owned liberal left media propaganda stations. And of course, they had nothing good to say about it. I guess that could be their opinion, but they always had that same opinion. So, after a while, it's just noise. Don't listen to you anymore because you're always saying the same negative stuff. Obviously, you're biased. Obviously, you're trying to sit there and make people think a certain way and trying to push a certain candidate. Maybe they always did it. Maybe it's just now so blatant and obvious, that we caught on, where they don't even worry about it. I don't know. It didn't seem like it was such a hateful field, 40 years ago. So here's the pond. I don't know how clear the picture will be. Jeremiah, you probably ain't gonna be able to see him. Because number one, he's in the green algae, and he's green. Unless they give him the move. But I video him just about every day. He looks a little smaller. I think that's a different one. Oh no, there he is. And you definitely not gonna see him, but he's bigger and he's over there. So I can see, I spy with my eye 2 bullfrogs so far. Now the pond, oh, I see minnows on top. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to pick it up. I do see a lot of minnows and a lot of fry. When I mean fry, the baby fish. That's a sign of a healthy pond. It means that you're gonna get a new generation, and also they are food for the bigger fish. Now what I haven't seen, oh, there's a small frog, not a bullfrog, but a bigger tree frog. So tree frogs. Something kicked out over there. The bigger fish will usually hide underneath that algae. And then turtles also. I haven't seen turtles lately. I used to see them every morning. So I don't know if they've moved on or just don't know. So anyway, there's the pond. Still looking healthy, but I do need a major rainstorm. There's my habitat pile. So I throw all the tree trimmings here for the most part, and it provides cover for critters. Now those critters could be rabbits, they could be weasels, minks, snakes, mice, voles, you name it. But I think it creates a more healthy habitat. And pretty soon I'll have the big yellow flowers popping up. So this is how I stay active. This is how I keep the blood moving. Otherwise, you just gotta sit. And granted, in the winter when it's 20 below zero or it's freezing rain, it's not a bad idea. But I do this in the gym. All right, number one, the sun is going to produce a lot of vitamin D and a lot of endorphins. It's going to make me feel better. When you feel better, you can deal with things. I always encourage you, even with a sore foot, to try to do some moving. Luckily the grass has slowed down, so I don't have to mow every other day. But and another thing, you split up your chores. Because to water everything, I probably got to carry about 8 buckets out, if not a little bit more. And I don't mind doing that. But I'd rather do it in spurts. Here we go. Then I can sit down and relax again. There we go. Let me catch up on comments here. I hear you talking, but you can't come in. There we go. All right. Well, my garden. Wait until, found a pine soil that isn't mystery mulch. Boy, you got that right. It's called Organic Pine Soils by Whitney Farms. Found it at Walmart. I'll have to look for that. Frogs are good. Means a healthy ecosystem. Correct. And I call the big bullfrog. Didn't spell that wrong. There we go. He was a good friend of mine. So a lot of times when I'm out here, I will take a shower before I go to work. And then take one before and after. But sometimes I gotta spray some off down there by my feet. Otherwise the biting flies have a field day. So let's see how that picture turned out. Kind of going in the past. Well, going in. Yeah, actually it was a lot clearer than I thought it was. Because I'm really a long ways from my router out there by the pond. I mean, that's You got to be 150 feet from the house. So that did, I'm pretty happy with that. 3-dog night, yep. Old black water. So, like I said, I was kind of looking on TikTok. I have a TikTok. I don't do much with it. I tell you, there's just a lot of idiots on there. But I like to sit there and see what some of the, I guess, misinformation that's going out there. And there's a lot. And, you know, you keep digging and you keep digging and you try to find a source that you can kind of think, okay, now I got the real story. But you never can be 100% true. And, you know, even back 15, 20 years ago, I noticed that there was a lot of misinformation on the internet. And I said, is it by accident or is it by design? In my opinion, and it's just my opinion, is I think it's by design. I think it goes under the old adage, if I can't dazzle them with brilliance, I'll baffle them with BS. So I think they put so much obvious and sometimes not so obvious misinformation out there that when the real information comes out there, how do you recognize it? And then I see the people, well, that's another thing. How can all these people fall for it? Well, are they really people? All right, I looked up and you got some countries where they'll literally have 1,000 phones hooked up to a power board, and each one's a personality. So when you see, you know, somebody says something that you don't agree with, but all these people go, oh, you're so wise. Oh, I'm so glad to have you. Oh, you're the best you ever was. Are they real? I don't think so. I would hope to think that the world is a little bit brighter than that, just a little bit. May not be true, but I'm just hoping. I'm trying to call me an optimist on that. So I really think a lot of stuff are either staffers or there's these bot banks. There's a reason why when you go into something that you need a password and that they ask you, are you a robot? And then they make you do some things. And those things have gotten more and more involved because they've learned to program around it. So they only do this because it's actually happening. So when people go, oh, there's no such thing as bots. No, then why is your bank asking you if you're a bot? And then making you go through some sort of kind of test to prove you're not. They're doing that for a reason. You know, I've noticed that it takes more steps now for me to look up my information. Where it just used to be log in, password, I'm in. Well, now we're going to send you a code. Okay, got the code. Is this you? Yes, it's me. Okay, are you a bot? No, I'm not. Well, pick these things. All right. Now pick these things. Now pick these things. Now turn yourself around. And that's what it's all about. And you're like, oh my God, I just wanted to look up some information. But why are they doing it? Because the information is always being attacked. So this is me talking. It's my opinion. You can agree with me. You can disagree with me. That's okay. Disagreement actually is a good thing. When people question things, that's a good thing. That's how you learn. If you don't question nothing, you never learn. If you just take things saying, well, that tree is green because it's old. Right? Oh, okay. Yeah, well, we know that's not why it is. We know about chlorophyll and all that stuff. But somebody had to ask, well, why is it green? Why does it turn brown in this fall? Why does it fall off? Why does it get, why? And then you try to find answers. And they say, was it an answer? I don't know. Let's challenge it. You know, when they say follow the science, science is always changing. You know, what we thought was pure science back 100 years ago, we know was not. Hell, what we thought was pure science 10 years ago is being questioned. What we thought was science a few years ago, definitely being questioned. So when they tell you, oh, just follow the science, that's a cop-out. I'd be like, just believe what I say. No, I tell people to research things. And I've noticed how research has changed. About 3 years ago, I did a series on vitamins and minerals. Did a video on vitamin A, did a video on the B vitamins, C, D, E, vitamin K. I did it on potassium, on iron, on magnesium, on calcium, on zinc. And when I was looking up that information 3 years ago, it was really easy to find positive views on it. And then about, 3 months ago, maybe longer, I decided to see, well, maybe they found something new. And when I did the search, the first page was all negative. I'm like, And then you started getting to the positive ones, where I know 3 years ago, the first page was all positive stuff. So I was thinking, well, why is that? Something was behind that. Not being paranoid, it's not conspiracy, it's something has changed. Now, was it because they learned, eating healthy is bad for you? I don't think that is it. I don't think that's what happened. All right. I'm more likely to suspect that they're wanting you to be in the pharmaceuticals. Now, I personally do not take any pharmaceutical drugs whatsoever. The only thing I take that I would consider a pharmaceutical is I take Motrin because I need an anti-inflammatory for my foot. I also take some other natural supplements that do the same thing. All right. So mostly I'm vitamins and minerals and natural supplements for all the things that ailed me. And I am far more healthier now than I was 3 years ago. And yes, I'm still spending money on those vitamins. They're not cheap, but a multivitamin is usually the best way to start. And then you should research, but you probably need to go page deep. So I was wondering about that. Why'd that change? There had to been a reason. I don't know what the reason is. I can make some qualified assumptions. Did the pharmaceutical companies say, listen, Google, we would like them rather be taking our product than buying it off the store? Because, you can buy a 2-month supply of multivitamins, for $30. Pharmaceuticals, if you don't have insurance, are extraordinarily expensive. But if you have insurance, maybe their copay is only $30, $40, but the insurance paid them a lot of money too. There's a lot of money to be made there. So the one thing that says, they're not, the pharmacies are not, they're not in the business to cure you. They're in the business to treat the symptoms. Just like a bank is not there to make you rich, they're just going to help you to make some money so you keep it in their bank. All right, because if they cured you, then you no longer need their product. If they made you rich, you no longer need their services, maybe. One thing I was looking at, what is their motivation? What is the motivation when they bring out information? I always look into that. I didn't do that much younger. I say, hey, that's good information. I'll take it. But I didn't look into why they were putting that information out. I didn't look and see if there was some other hidden aspect to why that information came. And I'm trying to teach my kids that. And it's like talking to a wall right now, but maybe one of these days. Yep. And I tell you, the problem is when you get a good doctor, they're good and they get promoted. But I talked to one, he said, well, your levels are, we could give you a statin. And I said, well, or I could exercise more. He goes, yep. Statins mess up the liver. My opinion. All right. I was on 3 statins at one time. I felt terrible. But, we like the level you're at. Yeah, I'm glad you get that level, but I feel like garbage. Now I eat healthier. And I feel better. Speaking of eating healthy, let's make my morning snack, which is going to consist of a green pepper and a cucumber. Woohoo! I went to a garden party, reminisce with my old friends. There we go. Bring that up a little higher. So I've already rinsed them off. So I made a couple small videos about, you know, instead of having that Danish or having that donut, here, let's get a better angle here. Have something a little more healthier. And you think as innocent as that statement was, I wouldn't get challenged on it. Well, I was wrong. And so it was evidently, tell me you never heard about mackerels without telling me you never heard about mackerels. So when I get comments like that, I go to your page. I look you up. I want to see what you about. What's your background? So this was a young man who obviously was a bodybuilder. I said, well, and they talk about macros in bodybuilding. I don't, because I don't bodybuild. I said, well, man, my channel is about fitness and well-being. It is not a bodybuilding channel. That's not what I do. I said, if you want more information on bodybuilding, then go visit my friend Vince Robbins. He's on Instagram. And he knows a ton about that stuff. So I said, here, I'll send you to the expert. I said, my channel is about making people feel healthier. And I says, and you can say all you want, but there's a difference between clean calories and junk calories. Okay, I'm getting 100 calories either way. You know, don't I'm getting more than 100. But the body doesn't do the same thing with those calories. All right, it uses all the calories here. But a donut in that, there's a lot of chemicals it don't understand, and it's going to put it in a fat. And there's a lot of sugar, which is going to ramp up your metabolism quickly and then shut it back down. It's not good for you. I use pink salt. Celtic salt would be another good salt to use. There's a guy out there who says, don't blame salt for what sugar did. Your body needs salts. Now I got my snack. Let's go back outside so I can catch up on the comments. My vision is not good enough to see that small print. So today is about walking around the pond doing stuff and talking about, different subjects. Kind of a free-for-all. Now, that's a mater. Let me drop this back down. There we go. Now I'll get where I can see it. Oh, this is a language I cannot understand. Thank you. So this is from Operation 1620, which is a veteran organization that tries to get veterans off of opioid drugs and suicide prevention and all that stuff. Thanks for a thumbs up, everybody. And I don't know where, not even going to try to pronounce that name, but it's not coming across in English, and I probably have a setting somewhere that would translate it. But not there. I was trying to look to see if I could translate that somehow. I think if I do it on my phone later on and look at that comment, it might. No. So I personally had a lady that looks at her post office, her sister was having a real problem with alcohol, and we got her off of it through this program. I think it's been 3 years now she's been alcohol free. So we've had some successes. And it's something I always talk about, being a veteran myself. Fortunately for me, I've never had to deal with those issues. What I know a lot of my friends and fellow brothers and sisters do. So when they asked me to kind of talk about the program, get involved, I said, "Well, absolutely." Or I just ignore stuff. You can't beat a fresh vegetable from the garden. The stuff you're getting in the store, at least here in the States, is not fresh, especially when you're out of season. So generally a vegetable you get in the store is at least 2 or 3 weeks old. Now they keep them in rooms that are, refrigerated. They pump all the oxygen out of them. It kind of keeps them in stasis, but they don't have the same flavor, and they definitely don't have the same nutrition. They're still better than junk food. But this is why I love summer. Now with cucumbers, so what I use around, and I did a video on it, that seems to have been very successful, is I use a bar soap, Irish Spring. And I cut up in chunks, and I put the chunks around the perimeter of the garden. I started that last year, and it has been very effective of keeping the critters out of the garden. And I stressed the perimeter. So the first year I put some in the garden, and then when we got heavy rains, of course the soap dissolved, and then the plant started absorbing the roots, and that was a no-no. So my garden's about, I don't know, 50 by 50. So usually about 2 bars I start out with. I'll buy them the big, 12 pack at Costco or whatever. And then about every 4 weeks, I'll cut up another bar and kind of refill it. But it keeps them out. The only thing I got in that garden right now that don't belong there, and I don't have any problem with it being there, is a toad. The toad eats bugs. So I do have a toad, if you might have seen that video. And I got that idea from a subscriber. That was so good. So, in the corn I have on my property, I told them they couldn't use Roundup. So they do have weeds in there, but it's still going to produce plenty. The other ones are across the street, and that, do I get any residual spray? I imagine it's possible, but not much. So the only thing I allow them to do is spray fertilizer in there. But I told them I didn't want it in my well. So when I did Children of the Corn video last week, whenever I did it, You can tell there's a lot of weeds that grew up in there. Where across the street where they use it, they don't have that issue. But they're still going to get the same yield. And if they want to farm that 7 acres, that's what they have to do. I don't want that in my water table. There's going to be some in there. That's why I use filtration. So I try not to. Do I ever get spray from the farm next door? Probably. I do rinse out the vegetables before I cut them up. That's mostly just to get the dirt off. I can see I'm going to have to do something for the wife. It doesn't look like she's doing it on her own. I'm going to grab my knife. He's got a knife. Right there. Get back. You ain't going in the house. Get. You ain't going in the house. So I want to, well, I've got plants, got these little stringers. Actually, the plant wrong. And she's supposed to string this one up. And she talks to me about not getting things done. Well, Mama, it's almost a little bit too long for me to reach without some sort of stool. Not necessarily the safest thing to do around here. Yeah, I'd run too. There we go. So I was telling her to run a string here for these things to there we go. Yeah. Yeah, so this can climb up it. She has 2 of them. Come on. Got one going out there. So I think I'm going to do the same thing. And won't she be surprised? I also use this to trellis up my cucumbers. So, yeah, hang on dear life there. Try to prevent any injuries. Probably should have tied it off the handle first. Oh well. There we go. Hopefully she'll be happy when she gets home. There we go. Let me catch back up on comments. Woo! Drink some of my water. Yeah. I appreciate. Hey, there we go. Your knife. Yes, you heard that. It's just a cheapy one. I bought this at Trading Post. It's for POWs and missing in action. Never can have too many knives around here. So now let's go back out and let's carry some more water out to the garden. But yes, I do like to have my implements. A knife is a good tool. Many useful applications. There's the garden again. You can kind of see those winter squash plants are saying, hey, I need some water. I can hear them saying it. I need some water. So what I will do is I'll stop at the store. I'll fix it where I can use a sort of length of hose. Then I can just take the hose in there and water them without having to carry it. So then you gotta let the water run a little bit. There's a black hose laying in the sun. It will absorb a lot of heat. I don't want to water the garden with hot water. So yeah, just, you know, all the stuff you see out in the world today, I understand most of it's staged or misleading, to say the best. I'm sorry, but those candidates don't have those blind followers they try to show they have. It just ain't happening. I can't believe people are that blind. You know, as a shout out to all the Olympians who won medals. There are some great ones there. My favorite one is that, boy, can that girl run. Man, she's impressive. Very impressive. A lot of times when I'm watering, I go, there's a weed. And I'll pull the weed out. That's probably the best time to get them. The soil gets a little looser with the water, because you want the roots. Now, it's not necessary that the garden be weed free. I'll be honest with you. This is by far the most success I've had of keeping weeds out of the garden. I was lucky enough to get a good head start and never fell behind. So usually the way the garden is now, it's about 8-9 buckets. Used to be 3. But as the plants get bigger, it takes more. I got someone encroaching on me. It's Binks the Ninja Cat. Ninja Cat. Ninja Cat. You don't like me out here by myself. So she always comes out and checks on me. I go out to the pond. She comes out to the pond. And other things, looking at how's the channel doing. I think the channel's doing well. It's not going to be the retirement fund I was hoping it would be. But I've met a lot of good people on it. Virginia Bushcrafter is definitely one of them. Hello. Let me see who popped in. Hey, how we... No. That makes you go away. That makes you go away. Hey, Virginia Bushcrafter. Think you can do something about BLM? Let's see if I can do it here on the phone. Yep. Let's just remove them. Bye-bye. We don't play that game here. Some people are very brave online. Ah. You down there, Banks? I think you're taking care of business. You fertilizing my garden? Yeah, we don't play that here on this channel. Oh, 14-year-old guy got out of the mama's basement and learn a skill or something. Now, the tomato, they got to do this like twice. The ground's really hard. What you rolling in the dirt for, Binks? And I do want to get all the watering done as soon as I can. Let me see, we get rid of him. Yeah, he needs to go away. Yep. So yeah, you always got those 14-year-olds that show up. Yeah. Dogs who chase cars, and golfers who putt for par, and trolls who go on my channel don't last long. I'll suffer them to a point on Instagram, because the more they say idiot things and get owned by other subscribers, I make some money. But on YouTube, no. Not gonna take it. This is the second rendition of him, I believe. What a sad life. But anyway, so the channel's doing okay on YouTube. I said it's not the money maker I thought it would be, but that's all right. Instagram on the other end, actually, this last 2-week period, I've had a fantastic atypical week. Most of it coming from one funny post. So you never know. I'm still going to put videos out on YouTube. I'm still going to do my live streams. But most of my short videos will probably go on my Instagram account. Just money ahead that way. So Got another bucket out there, and it might be time to relax again. So my schedule starts earlier now. I'm going to work an hour earlier, but I come home an hour earlier, which is nice. It almost felt like I wasn't working full time yesterday. A lot of times you gotta grab them when you see them. I don't get to everything all the time, and I don't need to be completely weed free. But it doesn't hurt to have a few growing in there. Now, I probably won't do the bricks again, only because they don't hold the water in as well as grow bags do. There's another pickle. I'll let it go one more day, but that's it. Might regret that. Well, let it go one more day. And this should be my last bucket of water. For today. I remember what day it is today. Yeah, there you go. And you do have good information there. I do like watching your stuff. You know, practicing your craft, as it said. I am kind of bummed because I can't go in the woods anymore. He didn't say no, but he didn't say yes. So until I get a yes from him, maybe once he gets to know me better, I have to respect his property. He's got 4 beehives back there, he said. And he sells honey and he sells meats from his farm. So I'll probably this weekend, if I get a chance, I might stop and get some more of his meat. He's got really good pork. Really good pork. Hy-Vee does too, but this is a little closer to go to. And then I told him the first honey batch he gets from behind me, I want to buy, because if you buy local honey, I mean, especially if it's in your backyard, basically, it helps you with the allergies. So it's really beneficial. I'll show you what I picked here, because it's actually a food. I haven't had it in a long time, but it is edible. Well, we call it wild spinach or pigweed. So this grows in the garden a lot. And it's actually a food. So we call it wild spinach. It's called pigweed. And you can boil the leaves and eat it just like spinach. Tastes just as good. Hey, if you're in there, make sure to hit the thumbs up. Help my algorithm. So it makes YouTube think I'm a little bit more popular than I actually am, as I always say. Hopefully with the Bluetooth, the audio is a little bit better. You know, there's just so much to explore out here. And just, you know, to walk around the house and just kind of see what's going on. Of course, I got some dirt in my shoe. It gets irritating quick. So yeah, Instagram's doing really well. Instagram makes me typically the way it's been going, and I hope they keep it that way. I hope they don't stop. I'm making 5 times as much money on Instagram. Now the videos have to be like 30 to 60 seconds, and you got to be lucky enough to get a following. And for whatever reason, I've been strangely lucky enough for that to happen. And I say that because I see other people who put out content I think is wonderful content, and they don't have the amount of followers. So the good Lord was being kind to me. Here's more of my property. I planted these maple trees probably about 15 years ago. We're going to go to where my cedars are that I planted when I first moved out here. A lot of times I just like to walk through it. Just kind of, so this is a path I mowed. I haven't mowed it lately. I'm going to have to mow it again. See how fast the grass do grow. So these are the cedars I grew up from my parents' place about 23 years ago. And now I got all these volunteers. All those there, I did not plant. And I have them going all the way up to the front. So about another 10 years, this will be really thick cover. And a nice place for deer to bed down. It really wouldn't surprise me much if I kick one out one of these days. So those were about 6 inches tall when I dug them up at my parents' place. So one of the things I like about being out in the country is just watching the land mature. Watch it go from, this was 14 acres of just cornfield. There was that maple tree up front, and there was an apple tree in the back. That was it. That was the only trees that were on here. So I'm feeling really good about where I've taken the property. To the point where we've been talking for the last 10 years about moving, because taxes are high. I don't particularly care for the government that we have. And I could save $4,000 a year in just taxes alone by moving out of here. You know, I can retire, but it's not the best time to do it. I want to wait till 67. Because at 67, I can retire, take my full pension, and then I can work another job, and I don't get penalized. Right now, if I take the pension now, which wouldn't be a full pension, but still be a decent amount, once I made over a certain amount of dollars, they'd start reducing my benefit, which I think is wrong. It's my money. I just found another way to make money. I think that's wrong. Hey, President Trump, you want to change some things? Change that rule. I think you'll get just about everybody's senior citizen ones. I would still work, but then I'd be getting my Social Security check in addition to my paycheck. And then that could make things, far more beneficial. Timmy. So there's some good maters. All right, let me drop this down and catch up and see who's all here. Wakey, wakey, shaky. And that's another thing I gotta get used to is my new schedule. So I'm going in an hour earlier. I heard maple cured bacon. You didn't, but that's okay. Yeah, it sure does. It certainly does. Get that rocker, get that clump of dirt in your shoe, and you gotta stop and pull it off. So I was looking at my analytics. You know, I'm doing these live screens and doing it in the vertical phase. I initially get a lot of people to come and look at it, but they don't stay long. And I was looking at it the other day, I had like 238 views, which is pretty good for one of my live streams. And I made 9 cents. Woo! Look out. Going to the bank. I've looked at anything I put on Instagram. It seems I easily get 1,000 views. They're shorts. And it's almost like you make a dime per 1,000 views. So, whereas one day I made 16, or what was it? I made like $1.23 one day on YouTube. That same day, I made $50 on Instagram. It's like what to do, what to go. Well, thank you, Roxy. Jesus loves you too. I'm blessed every day I have my health. You know, I'm blessed to be able to get this from the garden and share. And I am sharing a lot of it because it's too much for me to eat, too much for me and the wife to eat. It's my breakfast, and then if I am home during the weekends, you know, we slice them up for hamburgers and stuff like that. And thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. I appreciate it. So, generally for me to get to the gym now to get a decent workout is I have to leave probably like 12:30 my time. Then I can get a half-hour workout in, go to the store, buy some food. I won't have to buy as much today. Actually, I think I'm going to stop at the hardware store and get that hose in, if I remember. Hopefully I'll remember. So I'll do, you know, the walk around the farms. I'll do my lifts. But if you really want to see a lot more of my short videos and more variety, they'll be on my Instagram the same name. So everybody, thanks for joining in. Appreciate it. Appreciate you spending part of your day here. And remember, rest, nutrition, proper exercise, hydration, and just go out in the sun. Enjoy the weather. And with that, we will sign off. That's way behind. Yep, you too. Thank you.